Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to sit down and talk a little bit about feeling burnt out in motherhood and reaching that point of burnout and overwhelm and exhaustion. And I wanted to talk about how to avoid burnout and also some things to do if you feel yourself burnt out to try and get out of that rut and get into a healthier mental space. I feel like it's really important that you guys know that any video I make that's like related to anything, but especially motherhood, this is just my opinion, just my experience, just my thoughts, but I want to share it because I feel like when we find a common humanity, especially among kind of the motherhood group, it is so refreshing sometimes to just know that you're not alone. So I'm not an expert at this. I feel burnout a lot. I'm really bad at avoiding it, and I often find myself in the thick of it before I even remember what I need to be doing. I'm not an expert. This is really just me, a first-time mom, just wanting to be real and share with you guys. So I hope that this is helpful and that you enjoyed today's video. I felt it was appropriate to make this video because I've actually been dealing with burnout the last week, so it's been on my mind and it's kind of been that reminder of what it looks like and things that I can do to get myself into a healthier mindset. I think one of the first things to remember is that burnout is normal and it's common, and that it doesn't make you a bad mom, it makes you a human being. And we're all human. We all have good days, bad days, in-between days. We all have moody days, happy days, sad days, emotionally distraught days. It's just a part of being a human being. So I first of all want you to take a deep breath, pause, and be gentle with yourself. One thing that has really helped me avoid burnout is to simplify my life. And I'm talking about everything and anything that you can simplify. Do that. I find that if my life becomes cluttered, busy, overwhelming, that to me is an instant spiral into burnout and overwhelm and exhaustion and just all of those negative things that we are trying to avoid feeling. By simplifying my life, I just feel a greater calm and peace over everything. And that to me is priceless, just that feeling of calm, because when you have a baby or children, sometimes, you know, the constant need that they have from us can be overwhelming. And so if you can find a sense of calm and peace in your day, in your life, in your surroundings, it can really help in dealing with the non-calm elements of just having a baby, because that's reality. Babies cry, babies poop everywhere, they pull your hair, they try and bite everything when they're teething. You know, it's not exactly a calm atmosphere, but I have found that if I can create a calm atmosphere for myself through simplifying my life, then I'm able to handle those situations in a just better manner, and I find myself getting less impatient and less irritated, which is ultimately what I want. I don't want to be an easily irritated, impatient mom. I know I'll have moments, but I want to strive to be patient. Right now for me, I'm kind of on this journey of becoming a minimalist and really trying to live a more minimal lifestyle, and that is really helping me to simplify my life. So I try and simplify my routines. I'm trying to simplify my wardrobe. I'm trying to simplify my home because I'm very influenced by my physical surroundings. So if I have a cluttered and unorganized, messy home, I'm gonna feel that. So simplify your life where you can, whether it's your routine, maybe your days, you could simplify the amount of things you put on yourself to do. It can look different for everyone, but just do what feels right for you. Try out a few different things and see if it maybe helps. The next thing is to lower your expectations. And I talk about this all the time when it comes to motherhood. We need to set less expectation and pressure on ourselves, but especially if we're starting to feel burnout. I find that when there's more pressure and more expectations, I am feeling heavy and weighed down, and that's not going to lead to a positive space. which is what we're striving for. So just try and lower your expectations. You know, you can set goals and things that you want to work towards, but be gentle in working towards them. Push yourself where you can. I'm not saying that we shouldn't push ourselves or do anything, but I just think that when you're sleep deprived and when you have a very needy baby, which every baby is needy, they need us for nourishment, they need us for comfort, they need us for everything really. So just try and lower those expectations that you place on yourself, and to not be upset if the only thing you did at the end of the day was take care of your baby, because that's not the only thing. You kept a human being alive. Like, you just being a mother every single day is huge in and of itself, and I think we need to give ourselves more credit for that. So if you feel like you had a mundane mothering day, don't beat yourself up about it, and instead go through and list all the things you did, and you'll probably realize how much you actually did in a day simply taking care of your baby and yourself, of course. Another thing that has really helped me with burnout, and this is something I've had to kind of shift my perspective on, is to be comfortable and okay with napping and giving myself breaks. Sleep deprivation does not lead to anything good. And there is science out there, there are studies out there on this. Sleep is so critical to every aspect of our health. So when you are not getting enough sleep, it makes sense that everything else is going to feel maybe out of control, overwhelming. Maybe you're going to feel easily irritated. There's so many things that happen when we are sleep deprived. And if you are a mother, there is a high chance you're not getting maybe that perfect sleep every single night. So something that I've had to come to peace with is that it's okay to take a nap, and it's perfectly okay to nap when your baby naps. I understand that there's household duties and chores and there's food to be made, and that sometimes you just want to work on something else in private when your baby's asleep. But I think it's so important to prioritize sleep. So if daytime naps are not realistic for you, go to bed earlier. I know it's hard. I know when you put your baby to bed, that's your time. And I'm so guilty of, midnight rolls around and I'm like, what am I doing? But I'm just enjoying the fact that I have some alone time and I can just do whatever without there's any pressing needs for Samantha. Doesn't matter what time I go to bed. She is going to be up and ready for the day in the morning, and I will have to be too. So if you can't take daytime naps, I would really encourage you to set an earlier bedtime. Even if you just need to do it for a couple nights just to get yourself back in a good place and just constantly be checking. Maybe at least 2 times a week, I'm going to go to bed nice and earlier. I'm going to go to bed when my baby goes to bed and just get a really good amount of sleep. But if you can take daytime naps, I would really encourage you to at least take 1 nap with your baby. For me, it just makes such a big difference. Obviously, there's busier days, but if you're having a slow day, and especially if you're feeling burnt out, if you don't necessarily feel like you need it, don't take a nap. But if you're feeling maybe easily irritated, impatient, you're feeling those signs of burnout, I would highly recommend just taking a nap, and don't feel bad about it. It's not being lazy or unproductive. It's actually probably being the most productive you could be, which is giving your body what it needs, and it needs rest and sleep. And that in turn is going to help you feel more productive when you're up, feel happier, lighter, and less bogged down. So if you feel any guilt about napping during the day, remove it right now. Be gentle with yourself and just know I nap a lot of my day. Then the last thing that I wanted to share, in something that's helped me kind of avoid and remove myself from burnout, is to filter the amount of information I am taking in. So our phones give us so much beautiful access to everything and anything. We have access to anything at our fingertips at any time of day. That is a blessing and a curse. And it can be really easy to go down a rabbit hole of searching baby things or searching, just anything. And I just noticed for myself, when I get really caught up maybe in the news, or I get so zoned in on one thing, or baby sleep or whatever the topic is, I just feel more overwhelmed, and then that leads to me feeling maybe a little bit distraught. Maybe I'm starting to feel a lot of my anxiety is triggered by reading the news, or just kind of focusing on the negative out there. So while it's totally cool and I think important to be informed and, you know, like research what you want to research, filter the amount of information you're letting into your mind and make sure that you're processing it as well. We can scroll through Instagram in the period of half an hour scrolling through Instagram. Think of the amount of things you read and see, different opinions, different people. That's all going into your head, and then you're not really even processing. I feel like as we scroll, we're just like do, but it's coming through. And so I just find that if I'm feeling burnt out, putting my phone aside is such a huge help. Go plug your phone in a separate room, turn the notifications off, maybe delete any social media apps. If you still need to use your phone for like texting or phone calls, delete any social media apps so that you can't access them for the day. Just try and do a social media detox or a phone detox, whatever it feels best for you. But I just find that kind of limiting distractions can really help in that, because when I'm feeling burnt out, I'm very vulnerable to things that I read. And so I'm just not in the right headspace, you know, to be reading about maybe things that are going on in the news or whatever, and maybe it's going to trigger my anxiety and things like that. So I'm just going to leave it for that day. When I'm in a healthier mindset and I maybe want to read about this, I will go back and do that. But just try and filter the amount of information that you let in, especially around baby information. There's so much out there about everything, and it can lead you to feel a lot of mom guilt about maybe like how your baby naps, how your baby doesn't nap, how your baby eats or doesn't eat, or everything. Just try and filter it, and yeah, just like give your mind some space every once in a while. Those are all of the tips I wanted to share with you guys. Those are just very like real life things that I do to try and stay in a healthy place. It's so important to take care of ourselves as moms, to put our health first, because you can't pour from an empty cup. We need to fill ourselves, and in doing that, we're going to be able to then pour that love and that patience over our children, and it'll ultimately make your home a calmer and safer and more peaceful place, which is ultimately, I think, what I want. At least I'm not sure about you guys, but I would really like my home to be kind of my little safe haven. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, I would really appreciate it if you guys would give the video a thumbs up, share it with a friend who could maybe use this encouragement, just to know that they're doing a great job. We're all in this together. We all feel burnout. We all have good and bad days, but there are definitely things we can do to try and minimize the amount of burnout we are letting ourselves fall into. So thank you so much for watching, and if you feel like you would add anything else to this list, I would love if you comment down below so that any moms watching this can go read the comments and feel uplifted and encouraged. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.